What's up, guys? Mark back here with yet another video. So I have been taking lots and lots of shots with this brand new Fuji X-T2, and I wanted to kind of share a couple of little things that I happen to find out today. First of all, I think that this camera has roughly somewhere between 11 and 12 stops of dynamic range. I can't verify that. I know that a lot of people have tried to do certain tests, but that's my best guesstimate based on what the images have been looking like for me. I've been able to get lots and lots of detail out of my photographs thus far. Now, these photographs here are in RAW. This is actually a photograph of my my rooster, and he is extremely white, but he does have small little patches of black mixed in with his feathers. And I wanted to show you something just real quick. Okay, this is what the photograph looked like initially. Of course, I've already done a couple of like color tweaks and stuff like that to it, but this is essentially what the photograph would have looked like in color. Now, it is true that you can process your RAW files inside of the camera and get different film simulation effects on your RAW files directly in camera. So you don't even have to take your photographs and bring them into any type of editor and then get the desired effects. This was one that I created with the Acros picture profile inside the camera. This was a direct edit from RAW. While I do think that it's a really good rendition, but I still wanted to see more of my highlights recovered, especially there on the back of his neck, and I wanted to see if I could bring back those details. When I got the RAW file loaded up here, I noticed that when I came down to the profile for your camera calibration, when you click that, the Fujifilm negatives, the RAW files, actually contain all the different types of picture profiles built right in. And so what you can do is you can actually click on whichever picture profile that you want, all the way from Acros, all the different filters, Velvia, Astia, Classic Chrome, and your Pro Negative, High and Standard, Monochrome, with all the filters there as well. So I thought that was really interesting that you could do that and get the desired effect directly inside of, Adobe Lightroom. I mean, just having that option, if you really like the color profiles that Fujifilm has built in, this is a really good way in order to get your photographs moving in the right direction, especially if you like those picture profiles. And like I said, you can pick from any of them. You can even make multiple additions and see which one that you end up liking best. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of black and white, and I really am enjoying the Fujifilm grain pattern and grain structure. So I knew that I wanted that, but I also wanted to recover those highlights. So now in this version, as you can see, I've got a lot more detail on the back of his neck, whereas if I look over here on this one, you can see that I've lost all that detail. And I really wanted that detail to be there. So in the RAW file, I was able to recover that and still maintain the same overall look and aesthetic that Fuji builds into their picture profiles, but I was also able to do a lot of sharpening. As you can see, I was able to sharpen up the face quite a bit, bring out a lot of the detail in the feathers, and also regain that highlight detail that was lost. So I'm going to show you another photograph. Now, this is one of my other birds, and she's a gorgeous bird. And I love the Acros picture style. I love the grain pattern. And this photograph, honestly, it turned out really great. If I go back to Adobe Standard as it would look when you first bring it in, this is what she would look like. Overall, the picture is fantastic. I mean, we can go back to the import. This is what the photograph looked like when I first brought it in. Overall, it's still really great. This is, in fact, a RAW file, though. So all RAW files need a bit of tweaking. But if we add all those effects back in, and we see what it looked like after I got done with like sharpening and detail. What's the other one that I do? I really like a little bit of clarity and adjusting the blacks and whites so that In color, you can see that I've got some clipped areas in both the highlights and the shadows, but when I actually go to black and white, the Acros, you can see that I've got it perfectly portioned here, where I've only got very, very minute amounts of clipping, very, very small amounts, and I've got a lot of dynamic range here. This thing looks so good. I've got all kinds of detail. I've got really nice contrast now. I've got plenty of, you know, grain pattern that's showing through and really showing off that Fujifilm character. But yeah, just being able to swap the picture profiles down here in camera calibration is really, it's quite amazing. It's really, really good. I'm just going to show you one other one here real quick. This is one of my 5 completely lazy animal. His name is Cringer, and look at the amount of detail in the fur, just popping out everywhere. I'll show you what it looked like upon import. Still lots of detail, just not overly sharp, not as contrasty as I would have liked. You can look here and you can see that we've got lots of micro contrast right above the eyebrow, or right inside the eyebrow. I don't think that my focus was 100% on this one, but you know, doing some edits and stuff really kind of saved this photograph. Now, if you were to print this thing out in, say, like a 5x7 or something, the detail would be so good. The contrast is really good, and of course, I've got plenty of detail and dynamic range going from left to right. So I'm not exactly for sure if the camera actually does have 12 stops of dynamic range. That's what I'm willing to guess, just based on my experience with different styles of cameras and checking the dynamic range. But there is so much to love about these files. Again, not overly sharp because the lens that I'm using is still the kit lens, but I am not disappointed with the quality and the results that I'm getting from the kit lens. You know, in particular on these shots. Now, I have done some other shots, but I haven't fully processed them like this. But just looking at them in very small format, having transferred them over into you know, onto a phone or whatever, you know, and just socially sharing them on Instagram and stuff. Some of the files are good enough for those smaller style formats that, you know, just transferring them directly over from the camera onto the phone. I mean, it just makes it an absolute joy to be able to get, you know, really high quality photographs and then, you know, just post them directly to social media. Again, I think that the dynamic range of the Fuji X-T2 is fantastic. I'm getting lots and lots of detail, very, very sharp, very detailed in both the highlights and shadows. Crushing them and expanding the contrast is something that I really like. So, you know, having those really bright whites, but just, you know, look here in the leaf, the petal of this flower. I mean, those fine edges where the veins are at, all well retained. I did notice something that I'm kind of wondering if someone might know what this is. I don't know if this is actually a part of the leaf, but to me it looks like it's fringing. I have added, you know, to compensate for that, for the lens, remove the chromatic aberration, but it does look like a little bit of ghosting here on the edges. So if anyone knows what that is, or, you know, how I might be able to fix that, I set up a profile for lens correction. I don't know if it actually helped out or anything, but it didn't seem like it did. It did seem to unwarp the photograph just a little bit, but other than that, I'm absolutely blown away. But how good the images are coming from the X-T2, and it's a very strong love affair that I'm having right now. So if I sound like I'm, you know, gushing, that's because I am. So at any rate, guys, thanks so much for watching this video, and if you have any suggestions for me, please drop those down in the comment section below. As always, thanks for stopping here at the Photo Video Show. I'm your host, Mark Puckett, and I will see you guys again on the next one. Peace.